G'day everyone, how's it going? My name's Jackson. Welcome back to Weekly Endeavours for ESO. It's the 15th of September onward. So this set is okay. The refining raw materials one is going to be the best, I think. Group dungeons and defeating enemies. While Scribe skills is quicker, it's a fair investment in time and in gold to get a setup where you can do this quickly. You can kill critters with a single target ability, but that will take a long time, and all the critter options are public, so other people, if they start killing the critters, it will take even longer for you. It's going to be slow, that one. Killing lots of enemies at once is also not going to be super fast, but it's definitely going to be much quicker than just like trying to kill critters, I'd say. I'll go through all the options. I'll go through refining first, then defeating with Scribe skills, and then group dungeons. I think, yeah, group dungeons is going to be the slowest, but you can do this one like with less setup than you can with this one. So yeah, I think every option's viable in some way. Just, yeah, if you can, just do refining. That's my suggestion. So starting off with this one, you need a total of 500 resources in order to refine enough. So you go to quantity 50, and that'll cost you 500. Now, there are a couple of ways you can get your hands on some resources if you don't have any. So let me go through them. The first and most simple option is going to be through guild stores. So if you want to use this method, you want to do rough wood. You don't want any other resource. The reason for this is rough wood is way cheaper than the other options. Let me show you. So looking at Ruby Ash here, it's about 15 gold per item average. And if we take a look at Rubinite ore, it's almost 3 times as expensive per item. If we take a look at Rubido and Ancestor Silk, Rubido is like 7 or 8 times more expensive. Raw Ancestor Silk, that's like getting close to 10 times more expensive. And then Platinum Dust is even worse. That's over 10 times. So you can see why I suggest rough wood over anything else, because it is just super, super less expensive than the rest of the stuff. The other method is going to be through surveys, which you get from doing writs. Each survey, by minimum, will give you 120 resources, so you'll need 5 surveys to be able to get this. That being said, if you have a champion point, I should probably talk about both the champion points here that are important. Plentiful Harvest. If you're going to use surveys, get this, and it will cost less surveys to do this weekly in a single go, because, yeah, as you see, 50% chance to get double the resource node. So basically, 50% more resources. So, is that right? I'm not good with maths. Anyway, yeah. So it is almost imperative that you make sure you do that with surveys, because they're limited items and they're very valuable. So yeah, try and get this champion point if you can. The other one is meticulous disassembly. When you refine stuff, this will increase the chance of you getting rare items, like the gold materials, for example. If you're going to refine a shit ton of stuff through surveys, especially if you get like jewelry and clothing ones, the dreg wax and chromium plating, tempering alloy is quite expensive too. Any of that stuff, try your best to get this one too before you refine everything at once. So surveys have a 12% chance to come as a reward for every writ that you do. The only surveys worth doing for this, for the weekly, are going to be the blacksmithing, jewelry crafting, clothing, and woodworking ones, because those are the only ones that give you raw materials to do this with. Alchemy and enchanting, while they will give you materials, you can't refine them into anything. So yeah, only the equipment crafting writs are worth doing. Now you can also buy these from guild stores, but the amount that you usually spend buying a single one is going to be less than just buying a shit ton of rough wood altogether. So just do that instead. If you've got the gold for a survey, you've got the gold to just buy some wood. You just have to look around a bit. Alright, now let's take a look at killing enemies with Scribe skills. The most important thing you need to understand about this one is that the last thing that hits an enemy to kill them is what counts. If Light attacks, proc stats, anything that isn't a scribe skill, if that is the thing that kills the enemy, regardless of how much else is going on, it doesn't count. So you want to avoid everything you possibly can, other than things that will either deal damage as a scribe ability or buff the damage that your scribe abilities do. Nothing else should be used. Status effects will still apply, so there's sometimes you'll just get a hit or two from a bunch that will just not count. That's normal, don't worry about that. There's nothing you can really do about that. At the same time though, that is why I highly suggest you run just a shit ton of AoE skills and just mass kill a bunch of enemies real quick, because AoE skills have less chance to apply status effects, so that's less of an issue. Also, try not to use glyphs that do damage, because they will also kill enemies and not count, but that will happen if you light attack. Though there are some scribing skills that count as a weapon ability and they will apply enchants too, so you ought to be careful about that. Yeah, try to also use things that buff your damage outright. Yeah, so you can either do this with a single target skill and just kill a bunch of critters. That, as I said though, is going to be fucking rough. It's going to be a grind. The only skill I would really worry about this with is the one you get from just completing the first scribing quest. And you'll get magic damage to start with, Lingering Torment, and you'll get Breach, I think. And that setup's just fine. If you can, if you're a stamina build, maybe go physical damage or something that costs stamina. But you do need to progress the scribing questline just a little bit more to get access to physical damage. Not much, but yeah, you will spend a little bit more time. However, if you do want to go the AoE route, there's some skills that I highly suggest you look at. So, a spammable, if you can, Traveling Knife with multi-target is, in my opinion, on a stamina build, the best option. In Magicka options, Elemental Explosion, I think, is a great spammable. The only issue I have with this is the cast time of 2 seconds. If you're stunned or like knocked back or any shit like that, it'll interrupt the attack before it comes out. Not an issue with Traveling Knife because it's instant cast. As soon as you cast it out, interrupts and shit like that can't stop it. So that's the main strength of Traveling Knife. But Elemental Explosion, the AoE is fucking huge, and you also get access to Brittle. As far as I'm aware, this is one of the few things in the Scribing skill line that have Brittle. This ability is fucking good, so if you can get that, it's good. But yeah, doing the affix script farming is a pain anyway. So my setup is let me go to the Scribing altar. So I have Traveling Knife, and I use multi-target. I use Warrior's Opportunity because as a stamina build, most of your damage will be martial anyway. And I use Vulnerability. If possible, with Traveling Knife, try to use Force, because Force is also a really great damage skill, a damage buff. I also use Soul Burst, and I use everything else. I basically use Lingering Torment, because Lingering Torment does actually count. If this kills an enemy, it actually does count for the Endeavor. And yeah, whatever you can get here. Savagery Prophecy might be good. If you're Nightblade or things that have that passive naturally, though, just keep that in mind. Yeah, Breach is good. Yeah, Lingering Torment, physical damage. And then I use Old Shields, because this is also an instant cast. And I use Bleed, but use whatever skill you want here, or damage type you want, because it always costs Magicka. Lingering Torment, Sage's Remedy if you want a bit more healing. Just understand, yeah, scribing skills tend to not have much healing, so Nightblades and Sorcerers are great for this, or using Ring of the Pale Order to offset that healing a bit might be very handy. Vulnerability is good for contingency, that's usually what I use. You can get vulnerability from other stuff. Trample, I use Mangle if possible here in the affix script. But yeah, I don't have that, so just off balance for now. Warrior's Opportunity to increase the damage that it does, stacking. Yeah, that's pretty good. If not, Lingering Torment, anything here is fine. But yeah, physical damage or Magical Frost, whichever one you use for your main resource, right? Yeah, this will be my combination here. The only thing I'm just have this on the bar so it gives me the major Prophecy and Savagery for crit chance, which will benefit the rest of the skills. Banner Bearer is an interesting option as well. You can add things like physical or like increased magic damage and stuff like that of your attacks. The only thing is it will drain your resources as you use it. So you want to use it in short bursts, but it can also make your damage a lot higher too. So just yeah, every single thing here to purchase will be, aside from Soulburst and Wield Soul, these will cost you 50,000 gold. Just warning you now. So only really do this if you're rich and you can afford this sort of shit. Because, yeah, it is not cheap. Okay, so one of the choices that are pretty viable for killing lots of enemies with Scribe skills fast, public dungeons I think are the easier one to use because the enemies are weaker than the other option which I use. The only issue is this is a public area. When you go in here, other players will come through as well, and they will kill the enemies you're trying to go for. And one of the big issues with the finish off enemies with any of this stuff is if the other player gets the kill, it only counts for them, doesn't count for you, even if you're in a group together. So yeah, it's not great sometimes because of that. Yeah, so someone's come through here and killed everything. You can tell, because there's fuck all enemies here. This is the issue you're going to have. Usually this is packed with enemies. That's why you want to go an instance area with no other players around. Okay, here we go. A few enemies over here. So I'll just show you the combination. So I always start with trample and I use it once. And then I go contingency, burst, and then I just use traveling knife as a spam ball. And instead of traveling knife on a magicka build, you just use elemental explosion instead. But yeah, contingency, burst, traveling knife. Yeah, that's kind of the main setup I use, and it works pretty well most of the time. The reason I use trample at the start is it's a cast time, so I don't like using it in the middle of a fight. But the distance it travels in a straight line is fucking great. So I love using it at the start because it just covers such a huge distance. Like, you look at that shit. Look how far it goes over there. There's not many skills in the game that do that. Yeah, you get the picture. So yeah, I'll leave it there for public dungeon ones. I'll just show you a run of what's it called? Skywatch. Skywatch? Yeah, Skyreach Catacombs. Alright, so let me just show you a run of Skyreach Catacombs found here in Craglorn. Quickest way to get here if you haven't been here before. Use Tier Cavern through home tours, and then just come up here, travel down the road here, and Skyreach Wayshrine's here, and you can easily access it from here on. So from the Wayshrine, just at the bridge, turn right a little bit, and you'll be able to come down here. If you don't have any of the champion point breakfall to reduce your fall damage, just come down here before you go down. If not, you can just jump straight off and land over here and you won't die. You have to have full breakfall though, otherwise, yeah, you'll take too much fall damage. Alright, so my setup on the front is, I'm going to use Banner for this one, and then I've just got 4 magic AoE skills here. So that's the idea. Banner powers them all up, and then, yeah, just tons and tons of AoE damage. That's the goal. And on the back, I've got Vigor. I really think you should always be make sure you have this on your bar, because, yeah, on the front, sometimes you don't get much healing, unless you've got heaps of Sage's Remedy on some of your skills. I use Barrier as an ultimate. I know that sounds weird, but there's no Scribing ultimates, so, yeah, it's just a defensive ultimate to keep you safe. Is probably the best bet. And I use a Nightblade because when you get tons of kills, you can just cast Barrier again really quick. And then I've just got some natural skills that will just give me buffs or do other things, like heal me during combat and stuff. Should change one more thing. In Shadow, get Blur, morph that to Phantasmal Escape for a source of snare removal. The other option for that is Sigic Order if you've got Race Against Time. This is probably one of the best snare removers in the game, because it also gives you Major Expedition, so it makes you really fast. So actually, I might use that, because it also gives me Minor Force, which I don't have. Alright, here we go. Banner up. Trample. Hit everyone that I can. Burst. Contingency, and then we're going to cast, oh god, when we're able to, cast Elemental Explosion. Boom! Tons of damage. Alright, so as you come through, make sure you pull the mounds with skeletons in it, the bone mounds and the fire pits over here. You want to pull these two. Keep yourself vigor, roll dodge the aspects of terror if you can. Chuck on this, chuck on barrier as well, and we'll chuck on banner. Get that. Oh god, feared. So yeah, this is why banner is really good. Because you get fucking surrounded. Okay, there we go. Burst, contingency, burst, elemental explosion if we got the time. We were interrupted before we could use it. Yeah, that's the pain that I have with this one. If you get interrupted, it's really, really clunky to use. Okay. Yeah, maybe use it after you get after you CC break, so that people can't interrupt you, and use burst until that time. The ghosts are very tanky as well. Just keep that in mind. And if you use contingency with vigor, it applies contingency. Yeah, you can see 55 kills so far. So line of sight tactic to get everything to group up at once. So if I go over here, should pull all the enemies up close. Yeah, you just need to be a bit careful because you will get swarmed. Oh, looks like they can't actually reach me from there. Okay, I'll just use this. Use barrier again. CC break, and then elemental, contingency, burst, burst, and then I'll just wait to get stunned. Oh. If you're on a lot of heavy armor, I guess you could use immovable, but I would not suggest running that. Also, don't block, because that will interrupt it too. Is where things get interesting. In this room, there are a bunch of enemies here, over here, and over here. The easy way is to kill them first, and then do this, but if you want to kill lots and lots of stuff really fast, you can use up the chest, and then once you see the wind effect, go over, pull that group, pull this group, and then you'll fight everything at once. And what I suggest you do, want to come over here, pull all the ranged enemies from the fire groups in, right in the middle. Now we use our barrier to stay safe. Use channel acceleration while we can, and I'll try and use pony. I've got a camo, don't I? Burst until I get CC'd, and then I'll CC break. Actually, no. Looks like we're pretty safe. Bigger. Yeah, every time every few, 5 or 10 seconds, another big group will pop up here. Banner, contingency, burst, explosion. If unyielding mace hits you, it stuns you, so that is one thing to worry about. Oh, okay, that's why. My bad. I didn't realize banner gets removed when you swap bars. Trying too hard. Alright. And that's clear. So, yeah, from that alone, that's almost 200. So, if we come over here now, we'll pull this. I don't suggest pulling them, because there's a boss over here. This dude is fucking brutal. He does shit tons of damage. Yeah, I don't like bothering with him. Right, now you can either pull them all over here and line of sight them there, or you can just keep going further if you feel like you can handle it. Might have missed a bone mount or two there, just be a bit careful. Oh yeah, taking aim. If you see a dude in the background with like an orange looking effect, and he's channeling, be very careful, because that's the taking aim thing. That does shit tons of damage. Oh, look at all the fucking health bars. Contingency, burst, explosion, explosion. Beautiful. Okay. That's... Oh, yeah. So, the stuff that you find spawn stuff. So you'll find some of the enemies aren't like visible on the compass when they're hostile. I don't know why that happens, but yeah, it does. That's why I try to like split up the pools, because sometimes the enemies have a hard time navigating to you if you're too far away. So you can see them all coming now. So if that happens, yeah, sometimes it might be better just to pull them all over here first and then deal with this group. But I don't know what's most efficient for time in this case. Might be like a combo. I need to figure here. Yeah, so here's a guy doing the taking aim thing. Just as a reference. Now I'm kind of gimping myself a little bit, not having a single target spammable, but I don't really need one. Alright, so that's basically everything done. We're pretty close to being done. From this point, I suppose you could just do a public dungeon and get the rest. But yeah, public dungeons not as reliable as Skyreach. Let's go through and see if I missed anything. Alright, yep, that looks to be everything. So yeah, full clear. Almost got there. Could do the rest with some public dungeon kills, or, you know, just something from Overland, I suppose. Or a dungeon, maybe. But if you're going to do group dungeons, just do that separately, I guess. Alright, let's move on. Okay, next up, well, last up, is group dungeons. This will be the slowest, but if you just want to slog through Fungal Grotto I like 7 times, it's not too bad. The only thing is, between Fungal Grotto runs, you're just going to have to wait a few minutes for the dungeon to reset, or just do it on several characters, and by the time one character does it, it should be reset for another one. That's a good way. The only thing to consider is pledges. So, pledges are like daily dungeons each day that the game chooses, and completing them gives you keys. And keys, if you're not too familiar, this is an old thing now, so I assume most people know what's going on, but you use keys to unlock basically rewards from these pledge givers, and you can get shoulders, like that's your main source of shoulders, and it's also, if you get the random ones, you can also get mercenary motifs, which are quite expensive in this day and age. There was once upon a time where they were so dime a dozen, but now they're actually surprisingly expensive. It's crazy to someone like me who's just fucking, I couldn't get rid of the things quick enough back in the day. Anyway, so that's one thing. Definitely consider looking through Group Finder as well. Go dungeon. And especially veteran, because this is probably where the pledges are going to be. No, that's not one of the pledges. Volenfell and Elden Hollow 2 today. So yeah, you can just check these for that. And yeah, if you see anything regarding pledges here, just maybe take a look. Just be aware that you're going to need to at least be competent in your role. So, you know, tank's got to taunt, healer's got to keep people alive, and yeah, damage dealers obviously just research a good DPS build. So the simplest and quickest way though, gonna be Fungal Grotto 1. There's no doubt about that. It's the quickest dungeon to do in the game, and you can you can kind of ignore a lot of it if you want. The only other exception I'll make is Grotwood with Elden Hollow 1. The reason for this is Ring of the Wild Hunt. This ring, one of the leads is for Elden Hollow 1's final boss, and I have done this so many times to get this lead, and it took me literally fucking over 100 runs, I think, across 3 accounts. It is not something you get in a couple of runs. So if you haven't got that lead yet and you want it, it's probable that you could do 7 group dungeons in Elden Hollow 1 in a row and not get it. So I guess that is something to consider. If you want to do this and maybe get the chance to get the Elden Hollow lead, yeah, give that a go, maybe. But if you just want absolute pure speed, Fungal Grotto 1. There's no substitute. Let me show you the way that I do it. So I've basically a dedicated setup for this. Alright, here we go. So I've got two setups. I've got my my Adept Rider Speed cloaking build, and then I've got my pure damage one. So I use a add-on and a hotkey to switch between these mid-run. So while on the way there, I use cloak, and I stay hidden. Usually I put Vigor on as well. I think I need to sort that out. Yeah, I normally use Vigor and Siphoning attacks to keep my Magicka full when I'm cloaking through all the enemies. And yeah, just turn it off when you're not using it, because it uses Magicka and puts your Magicka recovery at 0. So yeah, cloak is not good to keep up all the time. Right, so cloak here to get past all the enemies. While in cloak, I go into this corner, swap to my proper damage setup, and now I'll go to town. So I suggest you kill the little dudes first, the two dudes here, because they will, they're the ones who do the stuns and all the other shit. Yeah. The only real thing you got to worry about with this guy is the heavy attack, and he also does the thing, the roar, that thing there, and it sort of messes with your rotation just a slight bit. Yeah, other than that, doesn't really do anything worth riding home without. Okay, he's dead. Now I'll swap back to my speed build, and now we'll move fast again. So yeah, you only need to... You probably don't even need to kill his bodyguards if you somehow manage to not pull them. The only thing that matters is killing that guy, the chieftain. As soon as you kill him, it opens the door to the final boss, basically. So from this river, you just go down, go into the water, travel through here, go here, jump up here, and this leads you straight to the final boss. Put the damage setup back on, and now we'll just kill this guy. So he's also got a heavy attack. It comes out quicker than the heavy attack of the chieftain, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's only the AoE explosion too can be a little bit rough. Okay, at about 67%, he'll unearth a bunch of mud crabs. It's great for Nightblades because it'll give you ultimate. Tons and tons of ultimate. So what I can do here is just cast this, and then I'll get a bunch of ultimate back immediately. Not that it matters because it's already got. That's it. So that's one Fungal Grotto 1. So now you just go out, sell the loot, maybe just have a snack or something, or watch YouTube for like a couple of minutes, and then literally just go back in and do the same thing, but like over and over until we get it done. Yeah, a bit repetitive, but yeah, there's nothing quicker for doing 7 dungeons in a row. That'll do it for now. So any questions, as always, give me a holler. But yeah, weekly done. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. We'll see you next time. And take care for now.